Good afternoon, Joanne.
Good afternoon. Hey, Nicole. Thanks for having me on the Realty. My name is Joanne Taranto. I'm one half of the Tom and Joanne team, and we are celebrating 20 years in residential real estate this year. So I'm really excited to be here and share some tips from my business.
Thank you so much, Joanne. I was just thinking before we got on that my first ever real estate um, travel conference, I don't even know what you want to call it, was to Chicago when you made 30 under 30 to
Oh
celebrate with
my
you.
gosh.
Yeah,
I'm so
yeah.
old now.
That's so funny. Oh my
That
gosh.
was great. And it was a nice trip. Yeah, 30 under 30 is something that's put out by the Real Estate Association, the National Association of Realtors, and I was blessed to be a part of that group in my youth. And now maybe they'll come up with a, 50 under 50 or something.
That's so funny. Oh my gosh. No, it just time does fly by. And you guys have been such an important group within our business and incredible partners to us for so long. And this is way overdue. I know I've had Tom on, but I wanted to have you on here. And I thought it was so interesting. It caught my eye. You had jumped on an awesome call with someone from the Sotheby's International Realty Learning Institute talking about your digital strategy. And I loved the way that you framed it because I think people get so obsessed with like you said, being influencers or like the sexy things like
Yeah.
TikTok. I have to do TikTok or whatever it might
Colors.
be.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you talked a lot and dove into Google Business. And I just haven't heard anybody do that. So I wanted to have you on here to talk through that today, just to kind of, we always keep these short and sweet, but what I love is that you could leave people with a couple tips to get that started and maybe just tell us about some of the success you've had with Google Business because I was thrilled when I listened to it. I was like, this is great. Let's take everyone's attention off of the shiny objects and like just the blocking and tackling. So can you talk us through just what you're doing with Google Business, how it's helped, and what the strategy is?
Yes, absolutely. So, as I mentioned, I have been in real estate for quite some time. We didn't have a digital strategy up until, more recently when we've decided to put some emphasis on this. So, I will start with I'm located in Concord, Massachusetts, and we cover the Metro West suburbs of Boston. And there is a great, drive on social media here. A lot of people using it. As I mentioned, I'm in my 40s. There are still a lot of people using it, but you don't have to try and be the best. I think that when you're entrepreneurial, that you have this drive to always be improving and always be learning. But when it comes to a digital strategy, it's kind of like eating an elephant, one bite at a time. So, what we've done for 2024 is that part of our digital strategy was to incorporate Google. Now, everybody knows Google is the biggest search engine out there. Second to Google is YouTube. YouTube may have even taken over Google at this point. But at any rate, you should be thinking about feeding the Google machine. Feeding the Google machine means inputting information about yourself and your business so that Google knows who you are. And if Google knows who you are, other people can learn who you are. So, the simplest thing to do, if you don't already have a Google account, please create one. If you're part of Gibson Sotheby's, you have a Google account that's associated with the company. You can use that. And the most important thing you're going to want to do is create that account. It takes minutes. This could be day one. I'm just going to create a Google account today. Now, after you create your Google account, you're going to want to go in and click create a business profile. So it gives you a little screen where you can put the name of your business in. Now, you won't, as an agent, be able to individually represent your company unless you own it. So I am an agent, a salesperson for Gibson Sotheby's, but I do have an LLC that we operate under as agents, and that is what I have registered as our business. So our business is the Tom and Joanne Team LLC. I put that in, and lo and behold, there was no business profile for it. So I moved forward, and there are super easy prompts. So maybe day one, you create the Google account. Day two, you create the business account. And it's super easy to do. Google will prompt you through it. And don't forget, if you get tripped up and you don't know what to do next, open another window in your browser and put into Google, I have done such and such. Now what? And Google will tell you how to navigate their process. But I promise you, it is so easy. Now, the part after you create the business profile is that you're going to want to get it verified. That takes a little bit of time because they need to verify your address. And that is sometimes by a postcard that comes to you. It's sometimes by an IP address. It changes a little bit, but there will be a way to get yourself Google verified so that they can then display your page with confidence.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think I wanted to just circle back, as silly as it might sound, so people just understand what this even is. This is if someone Googles your name, this business profile should come up. And that's an important piece because other things are going to come up. And there might be things that are related to the industry. There might be things that aren't even you. So this is a way that you can pop up. I will say from a tactical standpoint, you said address, you may need to use your home address. I'm not sure, and I will do the research, but I'm not sure that you can be registered to the office address. I believe they're going to flag that as the office is the
Is
company.
already has
Yeah.
a Google page.
Yes.
Navigate your way through it. It's going to
Yes.
be worth it because it doesn't ultimately matter where your address is because you can then provide your service area and hide your address. So if you want to be, let's say you're in Gibson Sotheby's, you're in the South End office, you put in your home address, you can then create your geography, your service area around wherever you want. So I hang my license at the South End office, but ultimately we cover the Metro West suburbs. So what you can do is you then can put in your service areas, and then it gives you an opportunity to put in all your social media links. Now, I think this is a really important part because, as you know, people are focused on getting as many followers and as many friends on Facebook. It's not about that because you only need one person with a need to find you. And so you don't need millions of people to find you. What you want to focus on are the social media platforms that you feel comfortable on. So, for example, I'm not on TikTok. Never been on TikTok, not really familiar with it. It's just, I don't know anybody that's on it, or maybe I do, but it's not my strength. So I don't have a TikTok account. I focus on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram and YouTube. So we can talk a little bit about YouTube later, but my thought is if you have one social media that you work with, put one social media. You do not need to be on all the platforms. It's unnecessary. And you just want people to be able to get a flavor of who you are. Maybe some video that you've posted. Maybe you'll be able to put a link to your website. That's all things that I think are great for your profile. And you can also set your hours. So if you decide that you don't want phone calls after 7 p.m., you can put your hours of operation and then set your Google Voice phone to have an automatic pickup after 7 p.m. So there's a lot of tools that you can use, but keep it simple. Keep it simple with the Google profile, get yourself verified, and get it up. Okay. This can all be done in a matter of hours, not even minutes. It's really quick. So after you get it up there, you want to just test it, right? Google your business. Make sure it comes up. Make sure you've added a photo of yourself, a photo of your office, a photo of whatever you want to have up there. I think having a few photos makes sense. And then you want to turn your attention to making the profile more robust, because the more information you have out there, the more findable you are. The more information that Google has about you, the more findable you are. And I'm not talking about giving out your children's names and your home address. I'm talking about putting in information that's pertinent to the image that you want to have for your business. So, what's the most important thing about your Google profile? The most important thing is to solicit reviews. So, a great way to do that is to chunk out your database. I know you have a database. Chunk out your database and do a little bit every week. So the way that I did it was I took my database and I chunked it out into 5 people a week that I was going to reach out to personally and say, "Hi, Susan. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for taking my call. I have to ask you a question. I'm building my Google profile, and I was hoping that you would write a review for me. Can I send you a link?" And then, of course, Susan is going to say, "I'd love to do that." And you send Susan a link. And if you don't have any reviews for them to see, kind of get ideas for what to write a sample one. So write a sample one about your experience with Susan, 3 or 4 sentences, and put it there for her. Because then she can either post that or she can write her own. If you have taken time in the past to get reviews on other websites like Yelp, Zillow, Realtor.com, which we had spent a lot of time getting Zillow reviews about 10 years ago. And so what we did, we went through Zillow and we cross-referenced every single review, and it was over 100, and we did 5 per week. And we just cross-referenced, and then I said, "Hey, Mike," I wrote an email to Mike. In 2014, you wrote me a review that was really great on Zillow. I would love if you would be willing to post that review on my Google profile because I'm trying to get it up and running. I'm trying to get more reviews. And then I would send Mike the actual review that he wrote. And I would say, "It's totally okay to copy and paste this. It will take you 2 minutes." That was very, very easy. And I found that everybody did it. So you get 100 reviews on Zillow, you have 10 reviews on Zillow. Break it up into something that's manageable for you, and you don't have to do it all at once, and just start building those reviews. And I think now we're up to like 77 or 76 reviews. And it's been a push, but it's something that we have been working on slowly for about 18 months. So it's not something that happens overnight, and take your time with it. So you can ask past clients, you can ask referral partners. So do you have home inspectors, attorneys, mortgage people that you work with on a regular basis? Have them write you a review, because a business to business review is also very good because it shows that you have a network of professionals surrounding you and that you're going to be able to provide great referrals. And it's good for their business too. So the best way to get a service referral provider to give you a review them first.
Mm-hmm.
So go to their Google profile or go to their Zillow or their Realtor.com, whatever it is, review them first, then send an email that says, "Hey, I wrote you a review. I was hoping that you would be willing to write one for my business as well." Foolproof. They always do it. You have to have a checklist. So make, an Excel spreadsheet with your database of the people that you're going to reach out to, and then just check them off as they write you a review. And you may have to go back and ask somebody a second time, and that's okay. But don't do it the next day. Give them a week or two and say, "Hey, I was hoping that you could write that review for me." And then you can also ask your friends and your family. So if you have friends and family that have been around you since you started your business and see how dedicated you are to the work, and how excited you are about your clientele, I think that's a great review as well, because it's something about your personal life.
Right.
So real estate is business and personal. They are oftentimes very messy and intertwined, but you want to have a list of people that you can just start out and ask. And then as you get through that list, you make sure that each client you're working with moving forward, you are then asking for a review as soon as either they close, or I sometimes ask at the purchase and sale if they will review. Always send the link. People don't want to have to look for it themselves. There is a link you can get directly off Google on your Google profile that is specific to you. Send the link and show them what to do. It's really easy.
I love that. No, it's so important. And I don't think that you really think about it. Like even just like looking on Amazon or something when you're looking for something specific, you're always like, how many reviews does this have? Or like you're gonna glance at it. So this isn't meant to be, I think that's where people overthink. It's funny, I think everyone has the concept down of like choosing your niche in real estate and realizing that like you do have a specialty geographically. There's so many things that you can choose from, but you need to focus on one thing. But then when people look at online, they think, I need to cast this really wide net. And this isn't meant to even generate, cold leads. It's meant to probably solidify someone mentioning your name,
Yes.
being that they're going to look you up, and this is what's going to seal the deal. And it's simple and it's nuts and bolts, and it's not some new platform you need to learn some dance for. Like everyone gets so overwhelmed. This is the meat and potatoes, and it's just something I think is so overlooked. And people don't realize this is a form of digital strategy, and I think everybody would benefit from it. I do want to go back very quickly again, just tactically to the address thing, because as you were saying that, I realized in the past people have, so this is for anybody that's listening. In the past, people have tried, whether or not it was intentional, to almost like overtake the company pages, or they just use the address unintentionally, and Google may for momentarily verify you there, right? Because you received something at the company address. And then all that does is get really messy, and they're eventually going to shut you down as not the owner of that business. You don't want to do that, and you don't want to make that mistake, because some people just do it by accident. They think, oh, this is the office address, and then Google gets mad basically because they're like, who owns this business? So I actually want to go back to that, because I didn't know that you can kind of remove the address so it's hidden. So you should use your home address, because obviously you'd be the only person using that. You can know you will get that verification, because the other thing is you do not want to lose that verification postcard that comes in. It does take a little while.
Yep.
And then you just remove the address and you put the areas that you cover. That's the simplest way to do it. So usually these aren't tactical as much, but I want to make sure that anyone listening that's like, okay, great, I'm going to do this tonight. And I hope a lot of people are,
Yeah.
realize they should do it that way, just so they don't have a hiccup.
Yeah. So the next thing after you get the profile up and running is that you have to keep it fresh. And I'm not talking about posting something every day. What we do is that every Monday, we have an agenda that we go through together, Tom and I. And part of the Monday agenda is posting to our Google profile. So there are a couple of ways you can do that. One thing is that you can post questions and then answer them. So I try to post a question and you get them from Google. If you can't think of the questions, just say, what questions do people ask about real estate? And you will just get a list of questions, and then you just answer them to the best of your ability. So having questions and answers are associated with your business is important. And then there's also a place where you can add updates. Now, once a week, we try to post something about our business, and we vary between things like recent sales. We'll make a GIF out of a new testimonial that came in from a client. We will post a just listed if we have new listings, or a just sold. We will post things about community events, things that we're sponsoring. And it's really whatever is important to you and what makes you special, right? Because we're all special in our own way. So I would think about, once a week, what is it that I can post? And generally speaking, what we post on Mondays to our Google profile then goes onto our social media, and that's the Monday post. So it's a beautiful way that you can reuse content that you have created. And if you're part of the Gibson Sotheby's network, then you have access to our marketing team, and they can make some of these images for you, or you can use a software or a website like Canva.
That's great. Yes. Yeah. Those are great tips. And I love that. I think that's what I want to make sure we sort of close out with, is just your strategy that keeps this consistent, because that's what this is. It's nuts and bolts and it's consistent. And I love that you have your marketing Mondays, because I think without overthinking it, it's, like I said, everybody gets they overanalyze, and I need to do something every day. I love that. So can you walk us through what your marketing Mondays with Tom look like for your business?
Yeah, so marketing Mondays are all kind of the nuts and bolts, our real estate work, okay? And it's the client facing work. And what I mean by that is Mondays is when we write handwritten notes to past clients. We write thank you cards to people for referrals that came in the week before. We thank agents that we've closed transactions with the week before. Always send a thank you note, appreciating their hard work. And the important thing about those is that they're not, again, they're all part of a larger plan. We also do on Marketing Mondays, we do our digital strategy stuff, which is posting to our Google account. We post something to our social media accounts. We also make phone calls that are transactional related for things that happened over the weekend. And everything we do on Monday is focused towards our marketing plan, because I think we all get really busy transacting. And when you get busy transacting, you oftentimes forget about the prospecting piece. So we commit to weekly events that we're going to do in the community, and we document all of this in our minutes. And what ends up happening is, in years ahead, we're able to go back and look at what we were doing this time last year, 2 years ago. What did business feel like? And a lot of times there will be like a little snippet at the bottom of our minutes that say, this morning's minute said, it was a holiday weekend and real estate was quiet, only one showing, but, things are looking good, right? So something simple to just jog your memory for if you wanted to come back at another time and look at this time of year, another year, you go back and see what you were doing. I think that, instituting Marketing Monday for us has probably been the single most effective thing we've done in 2024. And it is really just one bite at a time. It is following the agenda, doing a few things every single Monday and doing them consistently. And we were lazy last week. It was the 4th of July and we didn't write our handwritten notes. So this morning we had a big old stack to send out of handwritten notes. And Tom and I do them together because it's great to have an accountability partner. So you may want to team up with another agent and say, hey, would you be interested in doing Marketing Monday, where you do your things and the other agent does their thing, but you're doing them together and holding each other accountable for the activities.
I love that.
Yeah. And so everything should be part of a larger plan. This Google profile is supplemental. Now, I got a call last week from somebody who found us on Google, went to our website, saw where I grew up, and is from the same area and wants to move to where I live now. And so that was a great connection. I never would have known this person before. She called me up. She said, I'm living in New York. I'm thinking about moving up to Massachusetts. I have family that lives up there. It looks like you live in Concord, and that is my target town. And she thought it was so interesting that I, went to the rival high school that her son went to, and he now lives in the town next to me. We had a lot of things to talk about, but only because she had kind of poked around on Google and read a whole bunch of stuff about me. And so I think that you have to remember that it's just supplemental. And if you get a call like that, how amazing is that? There will be no referral fee on that piece of business, and it will have been generated by your efforts.
Right. That's amazing. Yes. I love this. We've left people with such a, not simple, but like a clear call to action. I feel like if everybody can just go on, if you don't have the page, register the page. If you do have the page, carve out a little time. Maybe it's not a day a week necessarily. And I don't think that probably Tom and Joanne are spending all day, but I love that you reminded us of the basics of marketing, right? Because again, everybody's starting to complicate things. It's nuts and bolts, it's notes, it's this, these are things that we need to just exist on the internet and let people look you up. And otherwise, it's all still the same values. You're still in your community. You're still meeting people. These are just nice supplements. And the way that you have it set up is digestible. And I think that that's the reason, I know that's the reason I wanted to talk to you today, because I feel like people can listen to these things and it's like, oh my gosh, I have to do what? And this is something that someone can do. So if you do this, if you implement this, email me, email Joanne. Let me know if you don't have Joanne's information, but we want to know that you jumped on and did this. And if you have a success story from it, we would love to hear that too. So I'm so grateful for your time today, Joanne.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking me to be on, and I'm always happy to share any tips or any strategies that I use successfully in my business. I'm open to sharing with anybody who's interested.
Thank you so much. You guys are amazing with your time and you're so generous. And I hope that we can have you back to talk about YouTube because I know
I
you're
would
doing
love to.
really great things with that too.
Yes, yes. YouTube is another great bite-sized strategy, also part of the Marketing Monday agenda. And I would love to share that as well.